Greetings Marines, FiOth here, and in this vid we're gonna go over my newest build for the Lancer, this time focusing on the long range particle lance. We wanna make a build that is capable of burst damaging the enemy for large numbers, and then whilst leading the charge you wanna help your allies capitalize on the initial burst to take down the enemy on extreme and insane. Everything works up to intense, so we do not need to elaborate too much about that. There are a couple of misconceptions when it comes to the particle lance, it seems, and I've been getting a lot of messages, so I want to clear the air starting this vid. The particle lance cannot one-shot warriors on extreme, no matter what the hell you put on it. The numbers can only climb so high. On Extreme Insane, even if 3 people hit a warrior with a particle lance, all buffs applied, you cannot kill the warrior. I don't know if people understand the numbers depicted on the screen. Okay, if nothing has changed, on Insane a runner has 2500 HP. The particle lance can lead up to 13,770 damage if the Lancer isn't buffed by some other character's bonuses or some card bonuses. That is a pretty huge differentiation between the damage required to kill a simple runner and the damage required to kill the ultra unit, like an orange one. Trust me guys, these guys take a lot of firepower to go down. If you've been watching any of my streams, you know that we have always been using overclocks and pumping shells in the head of warriors, and it takes a few seconds to take them down if 3 people focus them. So no, the particle lance will not kill a warrior, praetorian, or a crusher if 3 people fire on extreme and insane. This is not how numbers work. Okay, but that said, the damage output is instant and quite significant and can surely thin the numbers of enemies over longer distances, so you'll not have to initiate a whole horde of them when they get in close range. Suffice to say that there is no comparison between the grenades damage and the damage of this thing, nor the micro rockets. The laser rules supreme, it's more powerful than either of those, and I am a gunner main, and I did not cry because my favorite ability suddenly isn't the most powerful ability. Okay, let's get to the build proper. The Gundayum build. Thank you, Mr. Luke, for the awesome thumbnail. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Of course, you will be using the M41E4 Heavy Pulse because it is awesome, and I suggest the Pumper as well. Very, very reliable gun, pretty much the best weapon in the game still. Let's go to the perk grid. Now, I want to start with something very simple. I always preach that 40% is the soft cap and you should never go over 40%. Okay, the soft cap means that you get diminished return. Note that you cannot raise it anymore, but you're raising it for smaller amounts than up to the soft cap threshold. With all that in mind, I will be going over 40% in this particular one, up to 53% with all the force multipliers on. That is because you get one cast of this thing and you get a substantial return of investment for just 2 slots in the grid. You hit 13,770, as I said, which is a pretty substantial number, and the good thing about the particle lance is that you can hit as far as your line of sight goes, pretty much. I even tested it in like 2 open spaces and it seems to be working fine. I don't know if there is a more extreme scenario when it comes to the distance, but this way it works fine. We will be using rapid assessment, so when you activate your particle lance, as your character roots into place to charge the laser, you have full stacks of Overwatch. All the numbers you saw in the opening clip include this. One portion of the clips was done with force multiplier 2 added, one was done with other, but it doesn't really matter, it's just an opening as a teaser. Disruption radiation, particle lance now slow strike enemies for 40% for 5 seconds. This is excellent against the ultras because you can use this opening the fight, they will be slowed, walking towards your cryos slower, or your static coils, and you've already chipped away their armor. Then they will be frozen in place by your cryos. You can hit onslaught and begin hammering on them. Very, very useful. Force multiplier 1, force multiplier 4, and an additional force multiplier 2, unless you really don't want it and want to swap it for something else. We'll also be using quick charge 4 and quick charge 3. That is for a 40%. If you really want to max it, take this out of here and go with rapid deployment. You get an additional 2%. That's meager, but it is min-maxing, so you can use it. Jackpot. Your weapon is instantly reloaded after killing any foe stronger than a runner, popper, husk, or working Joe. This will work with your ability as well. So in the thick of it, if your lance recharges and they still keep coming from downside in the corridor, zap them. You don't need to reload your gun. You're good to go. Fitness training. Increase incoming healing and max health by 10%. This has to go on everything now. Like, it's too good to pass up, guys. It's amazing. Back me up. Allies deal 20% more damage to enemy targeting you. You will be at the front. You will be getting the bulk of the action. Your allies always get 20% bonus. Relentless advance. When onslaught is active, you do no longer lose stacks of Overwatch while moving. Well, all the heavy engagements will be done with onslaught active, so there's no reason why you shouldn't use it. Initiate with particle lance with rapid assessment, then hit onslaught, and you get an endless magazine, and you're not losing your stacks, which is pretty amazing. Here I went with Unshakable. Onslaught now grants immunity to most stuns, stumbles, and knockdowns, and grants 150% temporary health for its duration. That's a pillow, 150 HP of damage that you can take that will not actually be subtracted from your health proper, but it's not the only solution here. You can take it out and use protective layer if you want, because it helps you against all melee attacks and environmental hazards, and the reduction is 20% always on, even if onslaught is not on. It also increases your combat rate to a cheeky 185. I don't know why. We're back in the days of the recon and the round numbers. But this is the Gundayum build. The initiation goes something like this. You go into the fray, zap, and as you zap, activate onslaught. Now you cannot lose your stacks. Stacks don't show in the endeavor, but trust me, they're there. For the duration of onslaught, you cannot lose your stacks. You can keep laying on them, causing the pain to amass. It is very viable for extreme and insane. I've tried it on both. You can clear content easily with a good team using this because you have huge burst damage that always complements team composition. There's only one issue with the Lancer, and that is you have to take something out of the 3-people team to put it in. You cannot take out the gunner, or you lose overclock and crowd control, and you can hardly ever take out the tech. So be smart about how you deploy. I know it's the new thing and you always want to use it, but if you try to clear hard content, it's gonna be a detriment. Also, remember, if you go for this modifier, the particle wave, it stuns. It actually allows you some crowd control. So you can go and check the RAM build that I will link by the end of this one, and focuses on the particle wave. This is just scratching the surface of what we can do with the Lancer, guys. I will keep making these guys, keep bringing them to your attention. I hope you like what I'm doing here. If you like what I'm doing here and want to help, consider getting a membership for the channel or visit my Patreon. It's really, really helpful if you do. Sub, like, and share, and until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers.